Hello everyone. Welcome to my first YouTube video. This is Katie, and this YouTube channel moving forward is going to be dedicated to operation systems and scaling your business without having to work 24/7, have thin profit margins, and do things that you actually don't like doing. So the purpose of this video is to really talk about finances. A lot of businesses out there don't take care of their finances. It might sound weird, but like I have met so many people making 6 and 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, and actually they don't know how to track their finances. They don't have access to it. They don't know, how much they're making at the end of the day, right? Like they know the numbers, they have the screenshots, but in reality, how much money are we making? So I wanted to make this video because I was having a sales call yesterday, and someone was telling me that they've heard about me and they had bought one of my trackers for $20. And I was like, damn, bro. Like, I spent so much time on that. I literally spent 2 years just fine-tuning thing, realizing like what is it exactly that we need to have. So much, so much feedback going in there, so much time being spent on that, and someone else was actually making $20 out of that. So I was like, yo, if you're going to sell it for $20, well, I'm going to give it for free. So in this video, you're going to find in the description the tracker that I was actually using every single day to make sure that we're tracking our finances, cash in, cash out, upcoming payments, failed payments, successful payments. All right. And in this video, I just want to cover a bit about, like this revenue tracker that I was using the past 2 years. And just a bit of background story about myself. So I started as an executive assistant in a company called Millionaire Consulting, and over there it was something that I wanted to do, just a bit of part-time. I wanted to just make a bit of cash, like it was kind of like a side hustle for me. And then what ended up happening is, I really got hooked. I really liked the idea of like optimizing things because, this was my side hustle, right? And I was not getting paid per hour. So I was like, okay, how can I optimize things so I don't have to spend so much time, but I still get things done and they're perfect. I don't need to have to troubleshoot or like debug or whatever. So that's how I came up with actually building systems, because I was building systems for myself because I actually didn't want to spend a lot of time over there. I wanted to spend time on my own thing, right? I wanted to do my own thing. And what ended up happening is that I started working full time. We got on a deal where I was also part of I was like an executive in the company. We were building things for our clients. We were building things for ourselves. A lot of my systems have been monetized and, have helped so many people, like hundreds of online coaches, consultants who are currently making 6 and multiple 7 figures. So yeah, this is my background, and right now what I'm doing basically is helping consultants and agencies scale their operations while they're growing very, very fast. And that kind of scale, I'm talking about like making half a meal or 1 meal per month. And it's not something that I haven't seen before. A lot of my clients are actually doing that, and on my end, I just want to be there, kind of like their best friend who makes sure that, while they're growing, I'm covering their back. So I love all my clients, literally. Like I wish I could just spend all my time with them, but I'm on a mission here to help as many people as possible scale their businesses. So my goal is to make sure that the tools that I'm building are accessible to people and can provide quality services to all the clients. So yeah, this is a bit of a background story about myself. And in this video, we're going to cover right now the revenue tracker. How exactly does it work? And the reality of things is, when you start with systems, a lot of people, they just want to use the same system again and again. But systems break, and then when they break, you need to make sure that you're using the best system that fits for you. And I have heard so many people say like, okay, what is the right software? Which software should I be using? Or I'm working with this guy because he's like an expert on this software. Like, oh, he's an expert on ClickUp or Notion on Airtable. And I'll tell you this: anyone who is actually an expert out there, they're not going to say they are not going to identify ever as an expert on ClickUp. All right. And the reason for that is because systems is not just a matter of like the software. It's a matter of design, of architecture. So when you're building systems, if you start identifying as a ClickUp expert, then it means that, your vision, like the way that you're seeing things, is just on a matter of like what can be done inside of ClickUp or what can be done inside of Notion or Airtable. Whereas for myself, I couldn't care less about any of this software. For me, what I care about the most is how can we actually get things done for the clients exactly how they want them to get done. Ideally, I don't want to use any software. I just want things to just get done. But of course, we would have to use software. So yeah, let's just get here onto the revenue tracker, and then I'll tell you what actually I am using, because tracking your finances is the number one thing you should be doing if you want to make sure that you don't get out of business. So as you can see here on my screen, basically what we have is the payment records, all right? And if you have someone in your team taking care of your operations for yourself, please get them to watch this video. This tracker can get the job done for them, all right? Because it did get it done for myself and hundreds of clients who work with me. So with this tracker, basically we had a Zapier automation where every time that we have a payment on Stripe, or if we had a payment on like a wire transfer or PayPal, we would come in here and create a record, all right? It's super simple. And we would keep the net cash and the amount charged. Now, the difference between net cash and amount charged is net cash is after the fees, right? Because when you're going to pay your team commissions and everything, you want to pay them based on the net cash, not the amount that you got charged. Because honestly, people are getting paid a commission on money that you actually don't have in your hands. You have much less. So as you can see here, everything is being tracked in one currency. All right, like we were using multiple currencies like USD, euros, and sometimes like British pound, but everything needs to be in one currency. And I am very strict with that because things are going to get super messy if you start, tracking things in multiple currencies. And as you can see here, we have the program, the email address, and the client name. So P1, it means program 1, P2, it means program 2. Very simple. And for yourself, I would say if you want to use this tracker, which you will find in the description below, you can absolutely use it, and like super dynamic, like anyone can come in here and just use it. If you want to use it for years to come, you can use it. So you just click here on this edit button, and that's basically it. So email address, client name, amount charged, and then you have a checklist. So in this checklist, the idea is that you want to standardize the process of onboarding your clients. So one of the things that you should be doing with your business is standardizing things. The onboarding process, you cannot have 3 automations running and your sales rep just sending a link left and right. You need to have a process where you can actually double check things, making sure that, hey, was this person added in the email sequence? Because of course, sometimes automations are going to fail. That's why you need to have someone like a safety net, making sure that these things are happening, because it literally takes 5 minutes of their time, but it could impact the entire experience of your client, which could be like 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. So always standardize the process and always have a safety net. Make sure that someone is actually tracking all these things, making sure that things are happening. It's literally 5 minutes, and it's worth a lot. So this is a tracker where basically you can edit here if the contract was sent, was it signed. And of course, you can have automations to help you with this, because you can create automations with Zapier or Make or whatever tool you're going to use to make sure that every time that something is done, it's marked as yes. And this is the part where we're tracking the payment records. Basically, that is the cash in. Now, if you're going to track the client payments, because sometimes people pay in installments, then what we created here is this view with the client payments view. And as you can see here, you can just see, okay, this person is going to pay in 3 installments, and then it gets split in 3 equally. So if I'm going to say in 2, then there's an automation, little automation thingy here happening where you can see everything like being split on its own, and then you can check to see if everything, if you got all the cash. If you didn't, then it's going to get orange and remain orange. Now, the next thing over here on the upcoming payments, what you're tracking basically is if the reminders were sent, yes, no, or if you don't send them, if it's unpaid, if the person is on pause, all these things happening in here. And you can have a VA, you can have an operator, you can set up some Zapier automations or make automations to actually have this data right here. So this is basically it. And then we have the delayed and successful payments, where you don't really have to do much. This is a formula where basically you can see all your successful payments and the delayed payments. Now the last part that I want to cover here, and then I'm going to show you what actually I am using today, so stick through the video. This one is the calendar right here. And this one is, you don't have to edit anything literally, it's just working for you, and you have an overview on your business on what is happening, right? Like how much you have cash collected, how much you have to be collected, which a lot of people forget. And in that sense, then you can know, okay, like I am expecting to collect this much in February, I'm expecting to collect this much in March. So let's just make give an example right here. I'm going to use 2023 and I'm going to say February. Cool. So then with that being said, I know that I have to collect that much, right? And then you see here the comparison of cash collected and to be collected. And at the end of the month, you know how much you actually didn't collect. And then you can go back and follow up with these people. So this was the logic behind building this tool. And then you have, for every quarter, you have a separate view. And then at the end of the year, you can see the annual overview. How did you actually do? Oops. Right here you can see it. How did you do? What is your, okay, this one is probably not very realistic, but you know, how did you actually do on every quarter and then at the end of the year? And you can see here also comparing your programs, program 1, you can see for program 2. So if you have multiple services, then you know how much you have collected, and if you have different currencies, you can also track that. Over here we have some tables of reference. Really, this is for team payroll, expenses, and everything. So again, if you have a VA or if you have someone in your team to track all these things, you can do that. I would say a lot of people can actually benefit from this revenue tracker. You can get your business to like $500,000 if you have a solid person. But you know, if we can do things in a more simple way, why not do it? So with that being said, I'm not going to go deeper in this tracker. You can find it in the description and then you can just explore a bit. Honestly, it's very straightforward. You track the refunds, the disputes, and the expenses. And for the expenses, I have created even the expenses sheet for you. All you have to do is just put the data here and have those two trackers connected right here, right? It's very, very simple. And then you have an overview for every month. You don't have to come in here and put it on every month. All you have to do is put it here on all the expenses, and then it's going to populate on all the other sheets. Simple, very simple. So now with that being said, I'm using actually today the Airtable, right? Airtable is a tool that I recommend to a lot of people, and it is one of these tools that, you know, allows you to do way more than you would ever think you can do with Google Sheets. And for the reason for that is because it has some features that are, for me and our clients who are scaling from 100 to 200 to 500K per month, they are very, very beneficial. So then you can see here this template. And if you're managing operations right now, this is the best time for you to start taking screenshots. This stuff, it didn't come easy. It wasn't something that you can find a template left and right and you can just come in here and just do this. Like, this is literally what we are getting to our clients, and they're paying a lot for this stuff. So right here you can see we have cash in, cash out, upcoming receivables. Of course, I'm not going to go over all this stuff because this video is going to be like 15 hours. But as you can see here, there's a difference here when it comes to tracking the cash here and a Google Sheet. So a couple of key differences. First of all, you can have this same transaction being linked to a deal. Now, when it comes to the deals, I have them all right here, and I can see how much is everyone paying, how much we have collected in cash, and how much we have in uncollected per deal. And I can see the exact cash payments. I can see them right here. All right. And then I can see the status, if it's active, if it's paid in full, or whatever is happening. I can also see who was the sales rep who closed this deal, and I can see which programs are selling. I can also group here based on the program, and I can see, for example, like this, I can simply see, okay, we've sold 4 of this, 1 of that, and I can create different filters. So I can see, okay, for February, how many of product 1 have we sold, how many of product 2 have we sold, which is so important when it comes to forecasting, projecting, and seeing like, okay, what are we actually going to sell, how much capacity do we have, etc., etc. Another thing that I really like is the cash out. Now, when it comes to the cash out, being able to track this stuff is so important. I've had a client who, he had shared his American Express card with one of his team members, and after he was let go, the team member, he was still using the American Express. no one is actually tracking that. So we put a system in place now. So someone is tracking the expenses and, making sure that we have them in one place here. And as you can see, we have weekly breakdown, monthly breakdown, which is something that of course you can also have in other tools. But as I said before, like for me, I'm using a tool that actually meets the needs of my clients and of what we're trying to do. And I don't really care if it's Airtable, if it's Asana, if it's ClickUp, or if it's whatever. That's why you can see here that we have these numbers, and these are the most important numbers that you can have. Your P&L, cash in, cash out, knowing how much you're spending in ad spend. You can see how much you have the revenue per employee, and you can see the same numbers on a weekly on a weekly view and on a monthly view. Now the next thing that you can do is, you can create some interfaces here, which I like to use because it gives you an idea on like, okay, how much cash do we have in as new or recurring revenue? So that allows you to see that, okay, are we actually depending on the clients who came in last month or 2 months ago, or are we bringing new people in, which is again very, very important. And now without being saying, I also want to show you something last, which is basically not just the finances, because like the finances, we're using them to track cash in, cash out, upcoming receivables, seeing how much every team member is bringing in the company. But then it's also a matter of like seeing how much we got in ad spend, how much do we have cost per lead, and more stuff. So this is why I decided to use Airtable for this reason, because here we have created some interfaces for our clients where basically we can see cash in, cash out, closed won, deals, and then you can do some numbers. So you can see, okay, cash collected per lead, cash collected per call, and then on average how much are your sales reps selling all this stuff for. So I'm going to quickly scroll down here if my screen allows me to. Sounds good. Yeah. And this is basically how we build systems for our clients. And can you do all this stuff on Google Sheets? Not exactly, not really. So I would say if you're currently looking to actually scale your systems, you can use the Google Sheets, but you need to make sure that you design your systems in a way that you don't need to hire 100 people to manage these systems. You need to hire the system. You need to fix the system so that it serves your team. All right. This is very, very important. And I guess that is basically it. I would say the most important metrics, since we are here on like talking about finances, the most important metrics you need to know about your finances is cash in, cash out, how much you have in upcoming receivables, how many of them did you actually collect, and how many of them fail to be collected. These are some numbers you want to have. You want to have your P&L, and you also want to make sure that you know how much you got in new payments and then recurring payments. Okay, so this is basically it. And this is the first video covering one of the most important aspects of a business. So if you're just starting with tracking your finances, please make sure to have a look at this revenue tracker. All right, have a look at this, and whether you're using Google Sheets, whether you're using ClickUp, Asana, or Monday, or whatever you're using, try to replicate this. Okay, so try to understand what is the logic here behind. And I explained it to you in this video. Just rewatch this video and build this system on one of these tools, because at the end of the day, the tool doesn't really matter. Okay, some of the features of it of course matter, but what matters is that you know that you're on the right direction. All right, so if you're just starting, use a revenue tracker sheet. If you're not just starting and you're actually scaling very fast, feel free to reach out to my team so we can hop on a call and see if we're a good fit to actually build systems, dashboards, and give you an overview of your business, so you don't have to come in here like wonder what is going on, what is everyone doing, or where's the cash, what are we spending our money on, but instead you have everything dialed in and your business is up and running for this, purpose of serving your clients. Hope you like this video. Just let me know in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.